If you ever see any stickers on my back, do me a favor and take them off. Malazines like to play pranks sometimes.
Exactly. But none of them believe me. Exactly. But none of them believe me.
Excuse me, good sir. Do you by any chance know a Gemma?
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiancée? Sure I do.
I'm just trying to get a hold of her because I need her help with something.
Yeah, she does. Poor thing. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once every week to clean his grave. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but...
And she's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation fell apart after his identity was revealed, so no one else visits his grave. Gemma's the only one who still thinks about him after all these years. I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if it does, I'm sure Caesar must be grateful to have someone who remembers him fondly. If I'm honest, I think this is all so unfair to poor Gemma. Her fiancé was a low-life crook. Anyway, all of that said, she's running later than usual today. Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all of this with us.
You're welcome. I just hope she'll be able to move on one day.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding. Wait.
I don't know anymore. All sorts of news flying around now. But what if, just hypothetically, I mean, what if this weasel's the real deal? And
Called it. Seriously, 10 years ago, on the day it all went down, I said to myself, you know what? This guy's been set up. The Caesar I knew was a good guy. He gave balloons to children on the street for people.
oh, please. Weren't you the one cursing his name to high heaven when the police announced the news? You were all, oh, that gosh darn lousy son of a, you think you know a guy, or words to that.
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing you, but I couldn't help but notice you were discussing the Phantom Weasel. We're actually quite interested in this topic as well, but we're struggling to get to the bottom of it.
You've come to the right people. Yep, I was there. He was a great magician. The best trick I ever saw him do was pop a transparent balloon. I was right up close and didn't blink or look away once.
I saw him perform too. Sometimes he even got the kids to write their wishes down and...
Huh. He doesn't sound like such a bad guy.
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find out what was later. As I'm sure you know, the Phantom Weasel would steal just about anything from anyone.
Whatever the case, now that the Weasel is back, Caesar's become a hot topic once more. I bet Gemma must be pleased. If Caesar's name gets cleared... Oh, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's definitely the one to ask.
So that's Gemma. Is it just Paimon, or does it look like something's wrong? Wait, it looks like she's injured. Come on, let's see if she's okay. Hi there. You're Gemma, right?
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured.
Thanks for your concern, but you didn't answer my question.
My name is Linny, and this is my sister Lynette.
My name's Paimon, and this here's the Traveler.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. If he still lives, that means that Caesar was falsely accused. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. I promise you can trust us. We won't hurt you.
I never believed that he was the Weasel.
Huh. I suspected as much.
No.
Got it. All right.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone with him.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely something fishy about her.
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened a whole decade ago. In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside Hotel de Boer tomorrow, and then we'll start the next step of our plan.
I once considered keeping some pets in my office, but soon gave up on the idea. It's just not right to keep small animals where they...
Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads with her. Still, I don't think that Gemma's likely to open up to us. Today, we'll be looking into a guy named Lorenzo. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. Before long, Lorenzo was the next big magician in town, his fame surpassing even that of his master. I had to pull a lot of strings, but I managed to get him to agree to a couple of drinks with me.
You neglected to mention that you were bringing 2 other people with you.
My apologies. These 2 are my assistants. When they heard that I was meeting with the former Magic Maestro himself, they begged and pleaded with me to bring them along. And if it's no trouble, a couple of autographs would really make their day.
Oh, Forget the pleasantries, just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Lenny stroking his ego.
I only agreed to favor and cut to the chase. I have more important things to do than
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter I want to address is also related to magic. Yesterday morning, a warning letter from the Phantom Weasel appeared on the entrance to the Opera House. He claims to be planning something for the same evening that I'm scheduled to do a magic show there. I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned.
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the Weasel and he's been dead for 10 years, so what if—
Please, sir, no need to get so worked up. I do concede that a copycat is but one possibility.
Possibility? It's a fact, Lenny. The Weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so do yourself a favor and quit this investigation. It'll lead you nowhere.
Oh, sir, I'm honored, really. My pride as a magician is what's at stake here, Lorenzo.
Your pride? Don't mince words with me, boy. Just tell me, what exactly are you seeking to do?
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's true identity.
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do with you, anyway? Look, you of all people should know that a magician never reveals their secrets.
Uh-oh. This is getting awkward.
Lorenzo? Is that? Oh, it is you!
Another day, I'm busy.
Oh, come on. You can't be all business all the time. You know what they say? Live fast, die young. You gotta learn how to kick back and relax once in a while.
If I wanted your life advice, I'd ask for it. Now get out of my face and go be drunk somewhere else.
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've had the pleasure.
Oh, hey! This is your first time meeting him? And he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being...
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out of you and you can forget about doing business with me ever again. Do I make myself clear?
I
think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Lenny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion. Any thoughts?
Totally. And what was all that about compensating you for your losses? He's gotta be hiding something.
I think so too. That guy Edmondo seems to know a thing or two about him. You okay there?
Who are you? Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too many. I just need to ride it out. I said way too much back there, didn't I?
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off?
Hey! Don't go prying into Lorenzo's personal affairs.
What kind of bad things?
Don't even ask. And take it from me, trouble with Lorenzo is one thing you don't need in your life. That's not a good sign. You're too young for this.
And there he goes. What do we do now, Lenny?
Shh. I think we're being watched. Someone was listening in to our whole conversation. Don't say anything and don't look back. Any altercation in the city will attract the guards. You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Linny. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you today? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you, huh?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need answers where you're going.
Looks like we can't avoid this fight. Now, I'm not the strongest fighter, so I hope you're ready to back me up.
Don't worry, we got this!
Quietly now.
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders are always trouble.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't through with you yet! Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. And you're right. She was injured when we saw her yesterday, and maybe she was too scared to tell us the truth because those guys had threatened her.
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up to us once she learns that those thugs won't be bothering her anymore. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get any information from her.
Gemma?
You again.
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and so you can relax now.
What? Why?
So
That's putting it mildly. It's been 10 long years, and still every time I try to look into Caesar's death, How do I know I can trust you?
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but because you see,
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a magic workshop where he kept a lot of his personal effects. Do you know where it is?
The Fleuve Cendre. But the place was sealed up. I also know that the Fleuve Cendre is dangerous territory.
Understood. Lynette, you stay here and take care of Gemma.
Got it. But if I'm staying here, I'm ordering dessert.
I mean, bon appetit. But stay sharp, too. They're likely to come for you while I'm away.
Okay. Alright. Power saving mode off.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are blocking the entrance. Let's shift them away. There we go. It should...
So this was Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. Let's head in further. What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
Step right up.
Busted.
I see everything. Whoa. Look. The doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too ordinary for a magician's workshop. There's a distinct lack of mystery. We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. I'm starting to wonder whether Caesar built this whole place as one big, elaborate magic contraption. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe a hidden... Aha! If I just move this book, then...
A secret passage
I'm a magician too, and apparently great minds really do think alike. Looks pretty big inside.
Everyone hold in!
Now disappear!
Yeah! Sharing my knowledge!
Step right up! A round of applause!
Quietly now.
Why have you stopped, Lenny? Is there some device in that box?
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys go on ahead. If anyone makes a major discovery, let's rendezvous here.
All right, see you in a bit! Seems like we can't step on the same tile twice. Guess we've got to finish it in one run, huh? Wow! There's a hidden room here! Let's see! Oh, this bookcase is full of Caesar's own notes. He wrote a lot about the principles of magic. Whew. Much too advanced for Paimon. This book's thick as a brick!
It's nearly time for me to go on tour. I once overheard them talking about their father and their mission. Sounds like their parent. It's only been 10 days since I first met them. They're very tough, but also very cautious. And they trust no one but each other. They hide things from me too. For example, that's the thing about children. I can sense that their lives have been after thinking things over. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophy. Oh, Caesar, It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately. Surely he's not upset that I agreed to teach those two children. I have a good feeling about those kids. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them they absolutely mustn't. Any magician worth their salt could have taught them what I have. They're the geniuses here. With time, I have no doubt that they could. Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that their eyes are too piercing. They don't... At one of my shows a few days ago, as a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in whip. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up. I wound up saving very little this month. 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. Anyway, they said that they wanted... I told them that learning magic is very hard work.
Two magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet Caesar when they were kids?
Hold that thought.
Fishy?
All in good time. First, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd... Oh no!
Very vivid description.
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, of course, that's just how I think. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, he fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have been to see it in person, but wait a second. So if a dummy's supposed to drop out of the box, then...
Glad you asked. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance. Once the magician's inside, and the box is lifted up into the air, from where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom. But the back and the top are now... At this point, the magician presses a button inside the... He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the...
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Many days and nights of careful research and painstaking practice would have gone into this. Caesar was a highly accomplished magician.
So, how did it go so wrong?
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side.
Okay.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here. Which leads me because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on the most important details of the task or but a magician needs to be able to redirect an audience's attention at will. The essence of magic is getting people to believe a lie. If even the truth raises eyebrows, the falsehoods become all the more difficult to mask. And so, Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. Exactly. I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, but I'm sure he was confident. He would have rehearsed So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy, checked everything wasn't... Much like when you reach for your keys but find instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button. With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything.
But in reality, someone switched the boxes. But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed?
It would have to have been someone who knew that he was left-handed. Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie. There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. But I gave you your chance.
You mean Gemma? So you are the one who's been threatening her!
Yes, although however stubborn she might be, which is why you can't leave this...
Hey!
Gotcha! Our bond is strong! And voila!
This may hurt a little. The Temple of Wisdom!
Here comes the catch! Out of my way! Dissipate! Now disappear!
You kids are tougher than...
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking. And what I'd really like to know is, why did you murder Caesar?
If I had a Mora for every time you said that man's name. He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred. He poured everything into his street performances and his stupid tours like it was just a hobby to him. Never. But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the skills, and it brought me nothing more than the life I already had. He forbade me from using magic to trick people out of their Mora. And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he was alive, I had to kill him. There was no other way.
And this was your only motive?
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play.
In love with Gemma? Don't be ridiculous.
Guess I was wrong about that then. Next question. Are you the Phantom Weasel?
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested in the practical value of...
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the Weasel would steal whatever people valued, no matter...
That's just how it looked from the outside. I stole cheap things as a way of practicing...
So, that's the story, huh?
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me between your jaws. So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years.
Very well. In Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorenzo.
At least I...
Lini has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of Caesar and to...
Look who's finally developed a conscience. What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it.
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny? Should we
Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first.
Good point! We should go tell Gemma the good news right
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished my third dessert.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point.
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The girl—
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but
It's okay, we understand. But you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something terrible to me. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar in public. And to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest, at least his soul can finally rest in peace now.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. This show will be a special one.
In Caesar's honor.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon, don't be late.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out on a free magic show. Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary! We never found out if the two kids Caesar taught magic to were Linny and Lynette or not. Linny changed the topic back in the workshop, so we didn't get a chance to bring it up. Oh well, guess we'll just have to ask Linny tomorrow evening. Pyron's excited to see another of Linny's magic shows!
Not this time. My brother's going solo today. So, I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The great magician Linny has prepared a spectacular show for us.
Wow!
Thank you all so much for coming.
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just... It reminds me of him.
No wonder. So, how did you two first meet, Gemma?
Well, I was out on the street once. Children love magic. And somehow, It was with a flower. I was...
Oh, that's so cute!
Is that right? After all, you never know when...
That's right.
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now. Phantom Weasel.
See? Even Lynette says... Wait, what? The Phantom Weasel? Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you mean, Phantom Weasel?
As Linny once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role, but once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Traveler Paimon doesn't like where this is going. Come on, sit.
Ladies and gentlemen, there will now be a brief intermission. The final performance will take place outside of the Opera House.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they? Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so this is a big mistake for a magician to make. But thankfully,
Lenny? Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment...
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking.
Really? Well then, let's hear it! Paimon's dying of curiosity here!
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine, she never missed a target. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long she found her ticket to freedom. She would create a scapegoat, a false weasel to close the chapter on her behalf. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician.
So, being the master deceiver she was, the weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil, and a new thought entered her mind. Maybe, at her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you, but I just have one question. You seem to think that I am the villain in this tale.
Don't worry, Lorenzo said nothing at all. But I never believed that he was the weasel, and in fact, my investigation only made me more certain of that.
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. With a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely...
So you mean the whole intimidation thing was just like... Why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why didn't he sell her out, even if...
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Linny, if you're so confident in your version of events, having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But...
An excellent answer.
Is that right?
As a matter of fact, why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people?
Of course. If I had to guess. Left to fend for herself after her parents died young. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on. This was her only source of happiness in life. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. I detest the happiness of others, in all its forms alike. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good and true.
That's some pretty heavy stuff.
Does this story satisfy you, Linny?
Yes, it is quite to my tastes.
Huh. That's right. What drove you to write that letter, Gemma? Because without that, none of this would have ever come to light.
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the history books by now, Linny. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter outside the Opera House. But why?
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves. Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe.
10 years ago? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. 10 years on, and no one cares what but we...
And? What exactly did you take from me?
Free? Caesar once told me that even though the world is... I think that applies to you too. Truth can take many forms. Life took many things from you, and those wounds never healed. When they ached unbearably in the dead of night, stealing became your way.
What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Back to Lorenzo for a second. He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and you're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, deep down. But that truth is gone now. And I guarantee...
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly.
Gather round, one and all. The time has now come for the amazing Linny to perform his final act in tonight's show. I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the...
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. But we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused.
Guess that's my cue to leave. Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone are my true witnesses.
Linny, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without a... You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone.
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
Huh.
So,
Like Linny said, when you're ready, let's head outside and...
What about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough.
All right. Well, let...
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Linny is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling.
How could he possibly have done that?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once. He just...
What a heart-stopping magic show! Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Linny has fulfilled a wish on his behalf.
Whew. Looks like everyone really loved Linny's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Linny anywhere. Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. Oh, you mean the one? Yeah, that's probably it. All right, let's go look for him there.
It's raining? That's all right. The real problem would be if we could feel water dripping on our heads in the fortress of Meripede.
Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was sure something had gone horribly wrong.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. So I tweaked Caesar's original setup a little to keep it fresh. I was honestly a little nervous during the live performance. Sometimes, did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo on?
You know, Paimon's been wanting to ask you about something ever since we were in Caesar's workshop.
After I joined the House of the Hearth. To be honest, I told you about my past before, remember? As a young boy, I survived by secret, but I quickly realized that observation alone could only get me so far. What I saw was the polished final performance, but the rigorous training they put in behind the scenes remained. I needed to learn how to improve my sleight of hand. We were gifted enough that we'd made some progress by ourselves.
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking. In all, we only spent 10 short days together, but for instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. What amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him the truth. Trust is a beautiful thing.
Linny.
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, after Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. That night, I remember to keep secrets is to put up walls. The longer you only realize how much someone really meant to you when you lose them completely. That's why I was so confident this would hurt Gemma. Because I felt it for myself.
Yeah, sure. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes during our journey, too. Delicious food, fun toys, and the Traveler by my side. Paimon just needs to focus on, you know, Traveler. Doesn't that kind of make you Paimon's truth?
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's what gave us the strength. That's why the darkness never consumed me, and why it never will. Alright, time to lighten this conversation up a little. What did you think of the show tonight?
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been, what?
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are...
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, alright then. I'll give it a go, but only because it's you. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have...
3, 2, 1.
Now, have another look around.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right? This one's called, oh yeah, a rainbow rose. But more importantly, Paimon has to know how the trick is done.
Well, if you want to learn magic, you'll have to start by a... Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the...
Is that it?
Ah, look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, shall we head back down too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Paimon Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what we can find out.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite busy today.
Oh, please, Linny, I'll only take a moment of your time.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, but just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma...
That was quick.
Hmm?
Too late, bro.
That was quick, you say? Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray.
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar.
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must... Oh, I remember now! You and Gemma were nowhere to be found after the quickfire question. Where did you all go after the show?
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Linny did a private magic trick just for... Actually, glad you mentioned it.
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean that they're more important to you than your own sister?
No, I just,
What the... What now? Oh, did Paimon say something wrong again? This is getting pretty awkward.
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't... Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her fine... All right, I guess I'll leave.
Lynette?
Don't worry, I wasn't angry.
Oh, really?
Phew. You and me both, Paimon.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
A word of advice, don't break the law. Is there anything else? Yeah, seriously, don't break the law. Have you ever seen these stickers on my back? Do me a favor and take them off. Malazines like to play pranks sometimes.
Wait, did I hear that right? Monsieur Nervalette, are you sure you'd like to take over the case yourself?
That's right.
Oh, but why? Technically speaking, cases like this are better left to the guards.
Neuvillette! Sidine! Hey there! What are you two talking about?
Traveler in Paimon, please help me talk our Chief Justice out of this. He wants to investigate a case on his own. Now, this is completely unprecedented. How can we have the Udex acting like a private detective? Hmm?
Thank you for your concern, but I currently have no such plans. Oh, apologies. I took your question in earnest, but it now occurs to me that it was most likely in jest.
So, what is it exactly? It sure sounds serious if it's something you've got to investigate personally.
A Melusine named Kiara received a threat letter.
And then?
That is all the information I have acquired at this stage.
Huh?
I have no idea why you're so hung up over this. I've checked the schedule in advance, and it seems like there aren't any trials today. So, if you insist, I have no objections.
Thank you for understanding. I will leave a note explaining my absence on my desk. I would appreciate it if you could take it to Lady Farina. She may have no interest in official affairs, but standard procedure dictates that I'm still responsible for reporting to her.
Yes, understood. I'll come back later and deliver the note to her.
Judging from Sidine's reaction, it must be pretty rare for you to investigate stuff personally. What's so special about this case?
I cannot tell you just yet, but it reminded me of certain past events. There could be complicated conflicts of interest behind all this, so I must eliminate all risks in advance.
Come on! Stop being so secretive! We still have no idea what's going on!
It is not my intention to keep you in the dark, but I need some time to revisit those memories and collect my thoughts. Long story short, a little more than 400 years ago, I became the Udex of Fontaine and initiated a series of institutional reforms. There were few people I could trust, but I had two subordinates who were exceptionally trustworthy and capable. Carol, a Melusine, and Vautrin, leader of the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol.
They must have been amazing people to receive such high praise from you!
Indeed. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to protect them. The reforms damaged the interests of some, and the more conservative faction took advantage of Carol's identity to instigate political unrest. Ultimately, they wanted me to yield more of my power. The incident resulted in Carol taking her own life, and Vautrin being exiled. From then on, I've been especially careful when dealing with cases related to Melusines. All Melusines used to live a secluded life away from human society. I granted their wishes when some of them, including Carol, asked me to bring them to the court of Fontaine. Many common folk believe that I share a special bond with the Melusines, and whatever they do can be traced back to me. Some of them, especially, exploit that belief and stir up conflict over Melusines in an attempt to lay the blame on me. I have nothing against the opinions of others, but the moment a whirlpool of conspiracy forms, it inevitably affects the innocent. It has already happened once, and I want to make sure it does not happen again.
Even so, why do you have to be the one investigating? There's the guards, the Marechaussee Phantom, and the Special Security and Surveillance Patrol. Aren't they more than enough to figure out what's going on?
Based on prior experience, there is a high chance that those who hold hostility towards me do not belong to the same department. The political system of Fontaine is relatively complex and involves the interests of multiple different factions. However, since I am technically an outsider in Fontaine, a lot of trouble could be avoided if I personally took on the case.
Outsider? But aren't you the Chief Justice of Fontaine? Why would you be an outsider?
I understand where you are coming from, but there is not necessarily a connection between my responsibilities and how I perceive myself. You know very well about my true identity, and have even met others of my kind in other nations. Even though I was born with a human form, there is a fundamental difference between dragons and humans. Taking on the role of Chief Justice does not make me a part of this community. In fact, the status I was granted has prevented me from forming deeper bonds with others. I have lived in Fontaine for a long time, but I do not belong here. That is why I call myself an outsider, a fish out of water.
Yeah, we have nothing to do with all those organizations anyway. So how about we come with you on your investigation? Let's team up and round up all the bad guys lurking in the dark.
That does not sound like a bad idea. I rarely investigate cases on my own, but with professionals like you around, I'm sure it will go a lot smoother.
Oh, Paimon's starting to get a little embarrassed. Just leave it to us.
I will write my note of absence right away. Let us depart together once I'm done. Let us go. We should visit Kiara first and try to gain a better understanding of the situation.
So Neuvillette feels like he doesn't truly belong here in Fontaine, but is that really true? Paimon feels like he has a kinda skewed perspective on a lot of things. Anyway, let's catch up with him first. Paimon's been thinking. You called yourself a fish out of water, right? But since you're the Hydro Dragon, would a dragon out of water suit you better?
Thank you for your suggestion. I will consider using the more accurate term in private occasions. Please allow me to rephrase. Has a dragon out of water?
Ugh. That sounds kind of weird. Let's stick with the previous version instead.
What?